it's really important to prepare yourself for when your partner goes into a dementia facility. There really is so much to know. So the more that you can read and upskill, the better prepared you'll be. So when the person first goes into the unit, then there's so many forms to fill out, all the managerial staff that you'll need to get to know and who does what and the authority lines that they have. Then setting up the room, taking your partner out daily for a walk, hopefully, to be able to alleviate the contained stress that they have from living in a closed-in environment, and then explaining to them that they're in a dementia unit. Then once they're in the unit, then there's the routine, getting to know the caring staff and all the auxiliary staff, the activities, and of course the other dementia residents and the commonly visiting relatives. It's a big community. There's a lot to know, and the more you know, the better it is for your partner to be able to settle in. It's really important for you to be able to orientate to the dementia unit, to be able to best support your partner. Now, if you haven't worked in a dementia facility before, or indeed you haven't worked in a hospital or a nursing home, or you've got little familiarity with medical institutions, then it is a lot more difficult. There is a lot more to learn, because if you've worked in a dementia facility or similarly a nursing home or a hospital, you'll be familiar with the routine, so you're halfway there. Whereas if you haven't done that, you've always worked outside such places, then it is important to be able to know as much as you can in advance, to then be able to integrate yourself step by step. Now, I've actually written these two books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit, especially to be able to help relatives go through processes step by step when their partner or family member is coming into a dementia unit. So I'll just read out one example from The Resident's Voice, one aspect here. So epilogue 2, this is room setup and attire. So this is how it's written. Setting up the bedroom is a very important part of the resident's entry point into the unit. A room setup as close as possible to the one at home helps enormously in the settling in experience and overall quality of life throughout the resident's stay at the unit, which could be as long as 5 years. So it is important to make it cozy and comfortable and not to consider it as temporary. Now, this is an important point, because often people think that, it's like end of life for a person. But a person can be in a dementia facility for anywhere up to 5 years. So it's a long time. It's not a palliative care situation or end of life situation in that sense. It's not like they're in hospital and they're very ill. They're actually often very healthy and fit and strong and younger some of the time, but they have a memory problem. So that's why they need to be there. So it needs to be set up as their home and the community that they're coming into, and for them to be able to integrate into that, to have any quality of life. Now, for the second book, I'll just read an extract from that. So this is when the resident is, they've been in the unit, say, a couple of months now. They're settled in, the room's set up, they've had their regular walks, the staff. You're getting a little familiar with the place, but still there's a lot to learn, as there always is in dementia units. It's actually an ongoing process. There really is a lot of ongoing learning, let alone the setup learning. That's why these books are really helpful, because it gives you a head start. Otherwise, to try to get to know everything at once, it's just too difficult. And even though staff will answer questions for you, they'll answer informed questions, but they won't be able to give you the whole rundown. There's simply not time. So this one is epilogue 1, depression, depression, anxiety and anger. So these are the notes that I make. I'm always referring to these books for this work, these videos. And indeed, These videos are taken from the epilogues of both books. So everyone has a different experience when coming into a dementia unit. It depends to a certain extent on the resident's age, background, life experience, attitude, motivations, health, interests, resilience, and support, how they will react and respond. So that's a big sentence, but indeed this is the case. It's so different for every single person coming into a dementia facility. There's so many varying equations, as I just said, in terms of age and interest and support and background, and everything needs to be taken into consideration. And all these people have to live together in one community, astoundingly. They do. I mean, just take, for example, the background. I mean, all backgrounds live in a dementia facility. And so everyone has to get on with each other because they're living there 24/7, unless they're taken out for a walk or their relative takes them out for a visit. They've got no respite. They have to be there in each other's company all day long, especially at meal times. That's a very congested arrangement. 3 times a day, 3 hours a day. They're tightly packed together for the meal times, and they're needing to sit at small dining tables with 3 other people for each of those meals and communicate with them. Oh dear, so it's a lot, isn't it? You know, to have to get used to. But people do, and most dementia residents are good citizens. They've led good lives and they're good people. It's just they've got a memory problem. And so they have to come into such facilities because of that reason. I mean, some dementia residents do have challenging behaviour, disturbing behaviour, but really the majority of dementia residents are very good, and they make a big effort to be able to manage and settle and accept and adjust to the fact that they're living at dementia facilities, and they deserve enormous credit for that because it's not easy in any way for them. But if they have that support from a partner who's not overwhelmed and who is managing well and who is integrated and upskilled and informed of everything that's going on in the unit, you've read all the information, you've looked at the videos, you've upskilled yourself as much as you can, you've talked to friends and family that work in hospital or medical facilities, you know all the terminology, you've read all the clinical notes, you're informed at the doctor's meetings, etc., etc. This goes a long way to being able to settle into the community yourself, be a progressive participant for your partner's care, and to be practical and positive with all aspects related to that. And really, it can be a very worthwhile experience helping someone in a dementia facility. It certainly will and absolutely will. Your support will go a long way for them being able to manage positively, practically, and more progressively in a dementia facility. So I've written these 2 books, as I've mentioned, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise. They're both on Amazon, soft copy, hard copy, and the popular ebook, and on my website, pietavalentine.com. So if you're a reader especially, it is good to get these books, treat them as a diary, write in them stickers, notes, fold them over, use them as a practical guide, because there's a lot of information in them, and it's much easier to have it at hand with you than just trying to remember what you can from either the videos or having left the book at home with all the information in it. So thank you for your viewing and your comments and participation. Please subscribe if you're enjoying this channel and pass on the links. I appreciate that. Thank you.